Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Saturday. It's August 31st, 2024. Last day of August. Summer is really closing out on us faster than I'd like to admit. And of course, you may be wondering what happened to you yesterday and you're supposed to be off today, but we'll just consider this my Friday because I wasn't able to get on yesterday. I was transmuting some energies that were best done in solitude, and I didn't want to bring that frequency to the space for your sake or for mine. I wanted to keep the energy pure, and I'm feeling miraculously regenerated and rejuvenated today. And I'm actually excited to be here. So again, you can kind of consider this like my Friday message. And I guess that would have been my extra day off. And you probably won't see me tomorrow, but I didn't want to fall short on my commitment, at least to have finished 5 messages this week as promised. And I also just really want to be here. This is therapeutic for me, this exchange, in ways that you couldn't even imagine. So, I just always like to make sure that I'm still in the most premium energy nonetheless that I can be in, so that it doesn't taint the transmission, if you know what I mean. So here I am, here you are, here we are together. Let's see what we got. Wow, Magician. Yeah, it's miraculous. Oh man, a miraculous recovery, I would say. But this is about manifesting, about using every resource that you have on hand to create. Sometimes even doing so in ways that almost seems unreal, or maybe even a bit mysterious to the naked eye, like the sleight of hand that a magician would make in his tricks. But it's a very grounded energy nonetheless, Gemini and Virgo, where it still is about magic expelled and expressed through human capability, through carnal creativity, so to speak. Let's see what else we got. And this could even be, the practicality of having a plan. And maybe that's the sleight of hand, is that to a spectator or to the naked eye, it appears that you pull a rabbit out of your hat, but it takes a great deal of planning, meticulous planning, consideration, and I'm hearing appropriation. I don't even know why, but really like strategizing perhaps to create the spectacle, or to be the spectacle. So that could be as simple as people look upon you in a way that is astounding for whatever it is you do. Like they see it as something intriguing, at least, let's say, but something more than that here, I sense. And it almost looks easy, like if you like, they may even look upon you if you relate to this, but generally speaking, like this is somebody that attracts attention in a way that almost inspires others to want to do what they do because they make it look easy, or because maybe they make it look fun or interesting. And on sight, like, you know how you think you know how a magician does a thing when you see some people, not everybody. Some people like to preserve the mystique, right? And just be entertained. But some people almost want to figure out the magician's tricks, or, you know the secret, whether it is just to be in the know, like to have the knowledge of it, or to recreate it in their own right, So this is the energy here so far that's given me someone that performs in a way that looks like you could do it too, but it's a one, or the I here at the top of this magician card, which means this is a very signature act. This is whatever it is that's performed here or produced or professed even is very unique. It's not, there's a great deal of planning and preparation that has gone on behind the scenes, or does go on behind the scenes, to expel this magic. It doesn't just turn on overnight, even if it's a lot of sirens. Look at this, even if it may look like it does, exactly, with the star card. A lot of preparation that goes into being the star of the show. Whether people want to realize that or not. And it's because of, I think I'm gonna put this here. There, here. No, I think it's here. And it's because of people that can operate in this function of almost being I was gonna say a sideshow, but it's not like, how like back in the day, the traveling circus or the fair would have like their freak of nature type of sideshows, right? But it's not that in the sense, wow, my goodness. But it's not that in the sense that you're something to be gawked at and objectified or ostracized, even though I'm sure there's some of that kind of comes with the territory from the outside looking in. But I mean it in the sense where it's just a marvel. Yeah, that's a better word. But you get me on the sideshow piece though. Like, it's just something you don't see every day. You don't see everywhere. Whatever you do, it could be your personal talent. It could be how you write. It could be how you do your job. It could be how you, it literally could be so many different things. But I was trying to bring it down to a more practical, like I said, there's something still very grounded here about this exhibition that is probably, it could even be how you raise your children or nurture your children as a mom here, or how you govern yourself as a leader, how you take care of yourself as a woman. This is someone that's very attractive but well kept, well kempt, beautiful. Everything you do is somehow well put together, even when you're not really going out of your way. Just naturally you have an attractiveness, a beauty, and allure about you. It could be that as well. So whatever it is, it's a powerful force, and it's inspiring for sure. But it may be something that inspires emulation or or what is it? What's the saying that imitation? There it is. I was trying to think of the saying because I couldn't think of the word. Yeah, like it could inspire imitation. But what happens is the moment a person would even plan or intend to duplicate this energy, copycat it, doppelgang it, recreate it, let alone steal it or, possess it. It's like a recipe for a harsh backfire. It's like the minute someone would even intend to try to procure this power that is specifically assigned to whomever is operating in their authentic frequency. So it's like the Ace of Wands, it's absolute, it's unlimited, it's certainly there's enough of it to go around, but the access to it is exclusive to those that are operating in the frequency of destiny and integrity. You don't just run up on the Ace of Wands, this divine inspiration of like omnipotent force of power and creativity, unlimited, and think you could just kind of like siphon from that without having proven yourself to be, first off, trustworthy with that power, and also worthy to, and the worthiness is on the merit of your trustworthiness, like you operating in an honorable frequency to actually do something productive. Like if as a magician you could do anything with it. So what you choose to do, your intentions, your motivations for the power and for the force makes all the difference. How you literally wield it actively, how you recreate it, how you nurture it, how you deliver it, what new organisms are created, or what existing organism is nurtured or enhanced on account of your actions and your ambitions. So all that to say is that if someone sees you operating in this frequency that looks like, you got it made, it looks fun, it looks profitable, it looks productive, it's interesting, it's intriguing, it's glittery, it's mystical, it's mysterious, and they want to get in on it, but they want to get in on it by way of how it is directly assigned to you, is when that backfire hits, and it's like a strike on their energetic force field, really as like kind of like a type of thing, like, nope, you got to get your own. You can't have access to this doing a exact replica of what someone else is doing, because there's absolutely no way, like just like there aren't two stars that are the same in the sky, there are not two stars that are the same in the earth, as above so below. There's absolutely no way that anyone is supposed to be doing anything identical to anyone else, not even amongst identical twins or multiples of siblings. Even each person has their own DNA. So when you are intentionally crafting your creativity to emulate and imitate someone else's, you're already in violation. And you certainly wouldn't have direct access to like the supercharge of energy that the universe is literally pouring out at this time to those that it can really, influence and advance, because you haven't presented yourself to be, it's like you haven't shown your, if it's reading your authentic energetic signature, you would have to present the proper ID to have access to that power source, period. And some people are still trying to operate in identities that belong to someone else, or that they have completely fabricated, maybe even as like a compilation of a few other someone else's, but still having not quite found, their own personal, their own unique identity, their organic selves to submit as identification. And if anything knows what's real and what's fake, it's most certainly the universe. You can fool people on the ground, like you can fool human spectators, but you cannot fool the all-seeing eye, or the supreme source of all from whence everything has come. It knows you. It literally, gave life to you, so it knows what it is that you should, it's like almost trying to like fool the divine with a fake ID. That's like nuts. Interesting. Yeah, definitely something here about trying to, operate in a foreign identity, or in a stolen, more or less a stolen or fabricated identity. It's gotta be real. All right, so let's see what else. Three of Cups. Okay. What's the Three of Cups about? Matter of fact, let's do this. Pardon. Oh, okay. Dang, what y'all partying over? Wow, we got the Three of Cups and the Ace of Cups. That's a hell of a time right there. That's open bar, top shelf, all night long. Literally top shelf of the most divine wine you could possibly pour up, right up under the Ace of Wands. I guess that's just like the spoils of, again, maybe that could speak to why there is almost like a bit of an obsession to have access to this Ace of Wands, and whatever it is, like, I guess it's like some type of ultimate influence or something, or unlimited creativity, like to be able to just always, or to be able to like infinitely manifest, like bring things to life, bring, even alchemize, something out of nothing, or make some matter into something else, like. But you really gotta have pure intentions for that, because otherwise you just be serving yourself with a power that potent, which is why it's so exclusive to gain access to because spirit needs to know that you're going to be operating in the frequency of love and not just greed or evil or lust or envy or pride and ego in a poor, in a malintentioned way. Otherwise, you could do some real damage. Imagine somebody just wants access to unlimited creative power so that they can stunt, or flex with people or put other people down, which is what a lot of the obsession with power possession has been, much less about making any productive impact on the world or in creation or even on their most immediate life, like their most intimate life surroundings. Is really been more so in its lowest form to exalt yourself over others. For some, which is why those that have, maybe obtained a synthetic form of that, or some more or less like fabricated, there it is with the magician, like a fabricated rendition, or I don't know, like a fabricated expression of it, whether it be through other people or again through false identities, assumed identities, whatever it is, however it is. It's fleeting now. It's probably depreciating or depleting at this point, and the only substitute to replenish it is from a source that if you haven't tapped into at this point by way of the Ace of Cups, and that's self-love, that's genuinely a care and consideration for all of creation, not just for yourself, acceptance for others, and kind of letting live and let live type of energy, but really more centrically focused on your own personal healing from the inside out. If you haven't sourced that influence, or sourced that that power, tapped into it at all, that would automatically kind of like put you on the wait list for an Ace of Wands. Literally, with the Two of Wands, like you'd be sitting here waiting forever until you realize that this is the way you gotta go. Yeah, with the Nine of Cups, this like real wish fulfillment of a spiritual nature. Yeah. Not to just kind of like create that, kind of like, I don't know, like build a blessing, or build a like build something. What, I don't know what he's building or what he built in the lower frequency, because you know how I feel. The magician can be a fine line between manifesting and manipulating. In this case, I feel like it's more or less given space to consider both, in the way that the story's coming forth. But it's more emphasis on the highest frequency of the energy with the star here, 2 aces on the board, 3 of cups, meaning there's definitely some cause for celebration, at least for those that have found their way to the source and have found themselves in excess of love and peace and spiritual fulfillment. Like that's definitely an accomplishment and an achievement in itself. And this is what happens behind the curtain, mind you. Maybe that's what we look. Yeah, literally. This is a peek behind the curtain, or in the magician's bag, so to speak, if anybody's wondering. This this is the secret here. That's really not so secret at all. But if you're wondering how it looks so easy on the magician, it's because the magician has an unlimited source of force fuel by way of, his own self-love and care, and the acceptance of that from a supreme source, from a divine nature, knowing exactly what tricks work for him and what don't, and which ones don't. And even if there is an aspiration to expand your creativity, you do so honorably, and with integrity, still to be in alignment with what is true to you. So you could even try a trick that you saw somebody else do, but more than likely, you're going to put your own spin on it, your own flavor, or it'll be in some direct, it'll have some direct expression of your personal brand of magic. It won't be a carbon copy. Again, with anything, if you're a singer, even if you're expressing your talent through cover songs, how you sing it will always be a different rendition than the original. And hell, sometimes you can like somebody's rendition or cover of a song more than you like the original, and it's because you allowed the inspiration of that art, or you allowed that inspiration period to be conducted through you in a way that is still authentic, because it's through your energy signature. It has your stamp on it. It has your DNA, filtered through it. Not trying to get on and sing it exactly like the original artist, because you are not him and you're not her. So that's the primitive expression in that regard, because with the star, it definitely could be something that is, or that could be publicly recognizable, or even publicly acclaimed or celebrated. It literally could be something that puts you in the spotlight, but it would only do so in regards to expressing talent and gifts or anything that would put you in display. There could be so many things that would make you a spectacle in the best of ways. You wouldn't want to settle for the quick 15 minutes of fame or the quick viral moment doing something that, would gain, popular attention, or quick, like kind of almost like selling your talent short to some extent. You would want it to be as authentic of an exchange as possible, and that ultimately turns over to be something far more sustainable and lasting and memorable than the quick fix. So everybody may not have, garner the same results as going viral for what they do naturally, or whatever it is that whatever talent it is that they have groomed or polished to express. But it does mean that whatever exchange and reward or recognition you get in return will be extremely fulfilling for your efforts and for your time and for your energy. It won't be a fleeting moment of, damn, how can I get another viral moment, or how can I get another 20,000 likes or whatever. You'll be doing it for more than that, because it comes from a space that is like almost like I just said, like when you're doing something that's nurturing to you, like I said earlier in the beginning, where I said this is therapeutic to me to some degree. I don't have hella followers or likes and views and subscribers at this time, but I keep showing up every single day because this is what I like to do. This is how I feel guided to express my spiritual nature. This is what feels good to me. This is literally what brings me fulfillment, to have an exchange with any number of folks that, you know, are careful enough to consider my expression of love and light on any given day. Like, that's the fulfillment to me. Because it could be nobody listening at all, nobody subscribing. You know, it could be hella negative comments and energies and things like that. And if to do it in a frequency where I'm looking for it to pay off in a different way, particularly materially, you know. So yeah, like, everything gets to be done in that frequency, because you never know what the purpose of your efforts really are leading to. It could be feeding into something else that may not be, you know, you could be singing and it may come from, you know, segue into something else that you end up doing. And, you know, like, you just never know. So I guess whatever it is that you are fulfilled by, don't take it lightly. Don't take it for granted. Don't measure yourself by carnal standards. You know, measure yourself by the overflow in the spirit, like the joy and peace and happiness that it brings to you on the worst of days, you know, certainly on the best as well, but on the worst of days, and let that be fulfilling enough to fuel you forward, whether it's continuing on in that frequency or to transfer it to something else. But either way, see it as the empowering energy that it is, because it's doing something for you beyond perhaps the metrics that you may be measuring it by. And that's why it's looked upon, you know, from the outside in as a spectacle, because maybe you're somebody, like I said about myself, where you have a platform and it's not comparative to some of the more popular creators out here. And maybe somebody on the outside in might be thinking, like, why is she still showing up every day? Or why is he still posting? Like, he'd been on here for a year and then da-da-da, you know what I mean? Like, other people might be seeing, but they still see the light in you, and it's the dedication and the commitment that is the light that shines through whatever it is you do, and perhaps even still, like, your craft as well, you know, because not for nothing, I know I don't be on here just talking to a brick wall. I know that what I have to say is very valuable because it comes from my heart and my soul. So whomever connects with it is considerably blessed and blissed to do so. And that's no arrogance. That's just what it is, okay? I consider myself to be one of the best kept secrets here on this platform right now, but not for long, but for right now. But in any event, people see that from the outside in, and they're measuring you by their metrics of success and their metrics of prosperity and productivity and so on and so off, so on and so forth. Which is why some may look upon you and say, well, if she can do it, I can do it. And they try to do exactly what you're doing, but it don't come off. They may even surpass you in their metrics and their meters of value, but it still doesn't have the same level of fulfillment even for them, because it's not their lane. It's not what they're supposed to be doing. It's not really the source, the authentic source of their personal fulfillment. And so eventually, well, what's happening now in this season is that those that have kind of gained a bit of traction in, like I said, in those stolen or fabricated identities, are now experiencing a depreciation and even a depletion in the rewards that they once were attaining from it, because now it has to be earned on your own personal merit. You really can't garner it any other way. because it's not going to be, it's not fulfilling to you, and you can't fake it anymore. And that means that this cup, which was never full in the first place if it wasn't on your own energy, is fuel that's getting lower and lower and lower, and that low fuel automatically transfers into low manifestation, because you can't manifest on the low fuel of the source, the essence that empowers you. It's not the power, it's not the influence, it's not even the fabrication of the sort. It's what's really within you, what really drives you on the inside. And so those that weren't really powered up from their own internal source, and were either getting it from other people or just faking it till they made it, but now they can't really hold that spot until they go find their own source of energy, literally to be satisfied in their own skin and find their own tricks, get into their own bag, and come back to the stage. Because the audience is becoming more sophisticated now to kind of see the tricks for what they are a mile away. It's not even, the illusions aren't really giving what they used to give anymore. Not in this season, because everybody's more self-aware. Everybody's more aware, period. Even if they're not as aware of themselves, like generally the veil is being lifted in such a way that there might be some things you deluded about within yourself, but fake when you see it. You know what I mean? So, and not everybody is, like I said about the magician earlier, like some people just want to be entertained, but there's a great deal of folks that are, just as sure as there's more reality TV than sitcoms these days, that still want it to be real, or at least to fool me, like at least let me really think it's real. But in this case, it needs to actually be real, because it's hard to fool yourself anymore even. But they still prefer, considering reality TV, the semblance of reality, even though we know a lot of that is even scripted, before they really want to sit down and watch a sitcom, or a drama or something like that. So it's just the evolution of culture and creation that is undeniable now. And we got the Hierophant here, which is definitely about society and the structure and order of things. The conventions and constructs of creation that are more or less man-made. Yeah, and here is the collusion of it all. So this could even be, right, especially up under this Two of Wands, which is a little shaky, honestly. It still could be that consideration to want to, kind of find a way to still fool the masses, to find some new way. Like I said, reality TV is even scripted to some degree, but there's still the facade, the front, that you're looking into something that is 100% real, And it's like, although that's kind of losing its flair to some degree, which is why people are turn more to YouTube, where, well, hell, goddamn, I gotta say that's being infiltrated. So there's corruption in everything if it's allowed to seep in. But it's like the societal powers, the societal possessors of power, even in the illusionary sense, are still like trying to like workshop a way to create a new hustle, create a new facade, create a new gimmick, so to speak, a new sideshow. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they never really stop working on ways to either infiltrate something that is pure and authentic and either corrupt it and taint it, or to transfer that energy to some, to some place where it can be like monopolized and manipulated for the purposes of control or the purposes of profit or whatever, influence, whatever the case may be. It's something here about that where, at every time they observe a new wave of creation on the evolutionary path, they find a way to corrupt it or obscure it to their for their personal motive, like their ulterior motive. But back to the Two of Wands, like I said, it's becoming harder. That's why it's ever changing. And, it's not even very stable or dependable anymore, because the audience is becoming smaller and smaller. You know what I mean? Like this Three of Pentacles is getting harder and harder to captivate people with things that just aren't real, that aren't empowering, that don't give some level of substance to the viewer or to the whomever it is that's engaged or whatever, like the audience, whatever it is getting harder and harder to really maintain the captivation of that audience. And clearly it could be something much deeper than just entertainment, but certainly entertainment is a powerful tool, to kind of like almost hypnotize people into a certain agenda with glamorized techniques. You know what I mean? Like Hollywood is dying, so now what's the next best way to get folks to buy into the ideal, the facade of power? How can we captivate that energy and capture it in a way that we can funnel it to what we want to use it for, but almost like get folks to voluntarily defer that power to whatever that agenda or mechanism of societal or ordinance may be. Certainly to draw it away from the individual, though, or to corrupt it and redirect it as desired. And like I said, it's just harder to do that because some people are just far more protective of their energy now. They're actually occupying it, initiating it, and asserting it more and more, where just in terms of entertainment and talent alone, there is no longer this absolute deferment to record labels and talent scouts and modeling agencies and Hollywood or any other structure of, organized corporation of creativity that there might be to kind of be a gatekeeper of success or of even in the most practical sense, celebrity. Because like I said, you could turn on your own YouTube and create a viral moment, So like I was about to say, like they find a way to corrupt that too, So it's certainly not immune to the corruption. My God, I don't know if anything really and truly is besides the truth, of course, but it's getting harder to hold that power, even if it is like captured for a second or captured in an instant or in a particular way. They still haven't been able to really contain the flourishing of the individual star who really never really needed the constructs and is becoming more and more aware of that every day. You know, we're all making each other more and more aware of that, even in the small ways that you express yourself, where, like I said, you may not even have a lot of followers or subscribers, but somebody that doesn't have a platform at all might be inspired to say, well, I got something I want to say. I want to share some stuff. I want to do some stuff and just get it off my chest and, you know, exercise my creativity. And there goes another one, you know? So what's on the bottom? Yeah, Knight of Swords, that's what I'm saying. Trying to figure out a way. How can we cut this evolution short? How can we stunt this growth or contain this progression, you know, this advancement but it's harder to do it on a much more massive scale now. And like I said, the audiences are getting smaller to captivate and hypnotize. So who knows what lengths they may try to go to, but I don't think anything is going to be but so progressive now at this point. I don't care how great the plan may be. They revved up on the Mpox, you know, whole scenario, and perhaps could try, you know, to that point to create another anxiety in that regard, you know, against your mortality and your health and all that. But it's kind of like, all right, we did that though, you know, like, what's next? Is there anything? I mean, we don't really want to provoke any more tricks out the bag, honestly, but you gotta know that they're always thinking, you know, because that obsession with power is bigger than even them, honestly. Yeah, look at this. Ace of Pentacles. Obsession with power and profit. I can't even say prosperity, because it doesn't even, it ceases to be prosperous when you're willing to sacrifice others, like when you're willing to cause casualties to creation just for your own prosperity, you know, for your own advancement, you know. It's just giving obsessed at this point. Yeah, with the World card here, and it's like, okay, first of all, pardon me for not giving respect due to the fact that this is the third ace on the board now. And you're just not going to access, like, none but the righteous have right to the gifts of the divine at this time. If you don't measure up to that status, if you don't carry that identification through your energy signature, if you're not looking like a duck and quacking like a duck, and by that I mean a child of the divine, you will not have access to anything that is unlimited or anything that is everlasting. It's just not gonna happen. And you won't even be able to poach it off of anyone else anymore. You won't be able to siphon it from anybody else. You've got to get your own. The access is there. The energy is never changing. Like, it's, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's like, well, I guess stable. I don't know. It doesn't feel like enough, but it always is available. It's just that everyone doesn't have the right to command or demand of it more than what they're willing to be, let alone what they're willing to give. Certainly emphasis on the being first. when this gets passed down, this is like reflective energy, something that, like divine saying, like, this is what you are, so therefore this is what you earn. You know, like, this is what you are already, so now this is what you earn, like divine matching up, you know, to what you're already given. And of course it's of source, so it's advancing. There it is. Like, that's what looks supernatural and looks like the magic trick, because you in human form operating in the frequency of the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, looks like it's so enticing. It's so, like, literally like a sideshow, like it's a freak of nature, you know, for you to be doing something that maybe seems so simple, or that everybody does or everybody can do, quote unquote, i.e. singing. Not like everybody can sing, but hell, everybody can open up their mouth mostly and make sounds, you know. So if you actually got a little tune behind your, you know, your throat chakra, then, you know, then perhaps if you can do it, I could do it too, you know, and just transfer that to whatever it is that you do that people think they can either compete with or, I don't know, like copy, I guess. But the thing is, what you do is you. And so the divine comes in from a supernatural space to advance that frequency and to exalt it, yes, so that you can be that spectacle of sorts. But again, to the point of inspiration for others to aspire through their own energetic identity and through their own authentic and organic expression. So it does look like, ooh, I want to do that. But the entrapment is, if you try to do it like that, 9 times out of 10, you're going to fall short on what you're really, what it is that you're really, what's the right word? Observing and spectating when you see a certain level of a magician or brand of a magician do their thing, that signature to them. Like, I don't think I'm saying that right, but it's like the light that you're seeing, the glimmer that you see on someone else is not necessarily because of what they do, or even the response, reaction, or recognition that they receive on account of it. None of it, all of it is because of the fact that they're doing it authentically. So that's the thing that is universal. That's the thing that is, you know, transferable from person to person. That the minute you decide to do your thing, that's the minute that you have found your people, you found your stage, you found your audience, you found your brand of magic, you found your unlimited well, you know, your resource, your power, you know, that's your power, your reward. That it comes on account of that. So it's like the fabricated constructs and pillars that are established to gatekeep that exchange from the divine. It's like they create a force field of which you think you have to go through it, or it's like the illusion that it's giving to you to be this energy here, but really all the while it's usually taking much more than it gives. You know, because you're either bound to some contract, or once you are in contract, you're confined to those terms and limited by certain quotas and you know, like held to certain standards that are usually unreasonable, and all types of things. When you think that you're doing it on account to gain traction or to gain advancement, But what they're really set up to do is kind of just absorb this frequency of light for themselves, and again to funnel it for their own, into their own mechanisms of magic, materialism, that being, before it can really be expressed in a way that gives any glory to a divine source, and therefore is what ultimately cuts you off from the divine source and resource, from being unlimited in your reach and your influence. Always being like attached to this cord of, this corrupted cord of, like the fabricated creator, so to speak. Again, the powers that were. The Two of Cups, I almost kept going. So yeah, this is about new agreements in the new world. Exactly. New contracts, and pure ones at that. Pure ones. New agreements even with yourself about what you're willing to do and not, like setting new standards, non-negotiables, scrutinizing propositions and proposals that must match up to the highest frequency. With all these aces, it's like you're not taking anything less than what is divine, because that is what you are. But because so many people haven't been privy to the liberty of revering themselves in such a fine light. It's one thing to know you got talent, and then these forces do all they can. That's why they keep it limited, so that you feel this, keep this illusion that there's only a few spots. But when you know that what you do is so unique that it couldn't even be compared or competed with, that eliminates the facade. And that's what's happening. That so much more people are realizing that, hey, if I never reach a certain status this way or that, I still know that what I have to say, who I am, what I do, how I express it is valuable, because nobody's going to do it like me. And that's the new agreement that's coming into, that's being established, the new covenant, as a matter of fact, that's being established in creation, that is really like canceling old contracts, canceling old bindings, and terminating agreements that were faulty anyway, were spiritually unlawful and illegal. When you get down to it, it's just that it's what we have allowed to be the supreme word, to gatekeep and tell us what's what. But the moment the talent revolts, which it is, and takes authority over their energy, the powers that were, like I said, either have to figure out some new way or find some new suckers to corrupt, or eventually, my prayer is that they'll have to get the hell on somewhere. Literally, the hell on. Because there's no room for that. There's just no room for that. No tolerance for it anymore. It doesn't progress anything or anyone, not even them, really. And I say that all the time. Like, little did they know, with every dollar that they've siphoned, for every soul that they've captivated, they've set themselves back further and further from even advancing them, from creating a legacy that is eternal. It's just been well preserved for some time, but certainly not eternal, because it's not of eternal essence. It's not in alignment with anything that is of eternal essence. It's temporary. And all that's needed is for, the masses to realize that, to make those contracts null and void. Oh, okay. This came out in a major struggle with the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, and I would say it probably deserves to be, what's this? Yeah, I was going to say it probably deserves to be in the reverse because, I mean, it could go either way because some people are still struggling to find the balance of their own personal energy, even down to once you realize or become aware of yourself, then to consider like, well, what do I do about it? You know, because we've been operating in a certain construct for so long that to actually assert your personal creativity, your own power, it's like one thing to be told you have that right. It's another thing to actually exercise it, you know? But I feel like it's more deserving to be in the reverse, as it kind of flipped, honestly, more or less, because it's becoming less of a struggle. It's like, even if you don't necessarily know how to assert your power at this point, you are at least coming to terms with the fact that it shouldn't be deferred to someone else. You know, the best of us are. I might be speaking a bit utopian to say the most of us or many, because there may still seem like a great imbalance in this reality I speak of when you look around, but even that is an illusion as well, because all we're being projected through media, through social media, through mainstream media, is the worst of us, mainly, more than the best. But I truly believe that this is overturning for the balance of creation and universal order overall, that more people are less confused about their identity, less confused about their personal power. They're becoming more advanced in their own creativity and their self-esteem and their confidence. The only uncertainty again might just be on, now I have all this power, what do I do with it? Or finding a self-control with wielding that power, or the proper channels to focus it in, and to, you know, be balanced in that assertion, you know. So it's becoming less and less about not being aware. You know, you may argue, especially with the latest generations, that they're almost too aware and too like entitled to celebrity and stardom in a way that probably needs to be refined with wisdom, which is where, you know, the convergence of the ages would be most prosperous for all of us. Because if we could borrow a great deal of their confidence and security, you know, as the older folks, because I'm pretty much in the middle of that. When I say older, I don't mean old, you know, and even if you're past a certain senior point, I mean those that have been around long enough to be conditioned in the way that is breaking away now. You know what I mean? Like, we know the constructs. We are familiar with the gates and the gatekeepers. We know the order of things as they once were. We helped create them. We definitely contributed to the construction of them to some degree, just in our participation, you know. But I'm talking about like the younger generation now that was born into that age dilapidating. So they're not as conditioned as we are, even contemplative of restrictions as we are. But here it is. That's the energy that's looking to be corrupted in a different way, because like I said, because those energies don't have the wisdom of order and discipline, or like, what's the right word, like damn, there's a word that I want to use. I guess order, kind of, but I mean in a, damn, I wish I could, I hear it, but it's not coming out. But it's just, there's a void there in certain constructs that could be captivating, especially for us that have submitted to them, but that could also be protective, you know, and kind of create a guideline to some degree, to a refining, I should say. And that's the disparity between the generations, is that we're almost too careful and too conditioned, and the younger ones are a little bit too flagrant and unconditioned, unrefined, and unapologetic. But we could borrow a bit from either side, you know, for the elders to take more risks and be more bold and confident and secure in our own creativity, no matter what is reflected. And there also could be some wisdom borrowed from our experiences to the younger generation, to you know, to be more conscious of the impact that your energy makes, your creativity makes, the intention behind your influence, you know, with maybe not without apologies, but certainly with a proactive approach that would leave less room for regrets and remorse, you know, even if it's not expressed or asserted, but just like the regret or remorse of an unfavorable return or result on account of not being more intentional or more considerate of your force and how you wield it. So yeah, we could come together on that. But anyway, so that's why the younger generation is being targeted. And like I said, they found a way through social media and through other platforms and things like that. And even it's always the younger folks have always been targeted for entertainment in general, but there's less of a glamour to pull them into the pillars that were, the structures that were, because they don't really buy into that as much anymore, because they have the evidence to know and the lack of conditioning to know that they don't have to. So therefore these powers will come to them where they are and glamour them and enchant them and charm them in different ways that looks like investments and what do you call it, investments in what's the other word, like sponsorship and things like that, that is the same construct on a smaller scale, but it's still an entrapment in a lot of ways. And so there's the point, the void that gets to be bridged, if it's allowed to be, where the wisdom that we have from hindsight and living the truth of disenfranchisement by the so-called powers that were, could be imparted to those to, you know, avoid those pitfalls before they can really make an impact or really do any damage. And I think it must be happening because, like I said, I don't think the influence is nearly as strong as it's intended to be, certainly as it has been in the past, even with it reinventing itself, that corruption reinventing itself over again. And I don't think it has the traction to sustain itself. Like, it can't keep up with the evolution as it's happening, of creation as it's happening. It's just holding on for dear life, literally holding on for dear life to the past, the good old days. And that could be in an energetic form, yeah, trying to find ways to make new offerings, new propositions to finesse the situation. But look, It's depleted now to a Knight of Cups, and you know, I don't take knights but so seriously. It's a very underdeveloped proposition that ultimately doesn't really hold water. And when you really know what you know about knights and the lowest frequency that I would suggest this is, they're looking more to be more to benefit than they are to be a benefactor, you know. And so I don't think that even the new ways that corruption is being reinvented is truly making the impact or enticing its targets. Even the most vulnerable and impressionable ones, the way that it certainly not the way it did us, okay? And most of us are, you know, the best of us that are wise enough couldn't be bothered, you know, at this point. But even the ones that could still kind of be susceptible to be enchanted and glamored and finessed are not conditioned enough to see the value in it for them. And that's one thing about it with this new generation. It's definitely about what's in it for me. Another lesson that we could take for ourselves, for those of us that were conditioned to give all of ourselves, literally sign our souls on a dotted line in exchange for mere morsels, you know? So that's one thing about it. If it's like the powers that were are so outdated, you know, like so. I mean, corruption will always have its place to some degree until it doesn't, of course, one fine day. But the mode of operation is just so archaic at this point. It's just the same thing, again, being repurposed and recreated over and over again. But it's no match for how the spirit is evolving the people now. Nobody's that sleep anymore to just be completely taken advantage of. And the ones that are really, I mean, no shade, are not, that the value is not high enough really in the ones that are. That's the pigeonhole, right? Because the premium value is not really there to really extract from the ones that actually would, you know, take the bait. So, no, well, guess they better find another gig, or I don't know, figure out some way to, I don't know, polish their own talents or something, figure something out. But it ain't gonna be how it was ever again. And it's becoming less and less possible just to sustain how it is. You know, it's changing every single moment of the day as more and more people are awakened to just how amazing they are in their own right. Mess around and find out how to actually assert that power and to source it from the proper place, which is ultimately from within. Oh, it's over. It's over. So any day now. Anyway, thank you for listening and watching. I appreciate you for being here. I really do. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll most likely, almost certainly, talk to you on Monday. But for now, as always, I leave you with peace.